What's happening here? What's going on, Gary?
Making a pie.
Making a pie. Hello, Terry. Hello.
Cementing relations.
Cementing relations, that's for sure. Check this out. So, they're fixing up the old maintenance shed. That's cool. So what we've done is we've lined it with some foil on the inside to make sure that there's no moisture getting into it. And now we've got some sludge there. Ooh, soon this will all be concreted. And here's the chairs that Terry's been talking about. She told me she's getting some cement chairs. That's cool. So that's going to be right next to the dahlia patch. It's a very productive little area of the garden. Oh, there's Gary with an action shot, and Terry's in with the spreader pushing it towards him. And I think I'm going to get out of here because I'm not dressed for this sort of work. Fixing up the old shed, hey Gary?
Hey?
For public record, we're fixing up the old shed. I don't think so. I don't think so. Speak into the microphone. Bye. No, don't. Don't do it. I'm going to check. Ah! Hey, that is a bit mean. Okay. I'm going in to check the greenhouse. Click, clickety, click, click. Oh, look at this. It's 8:30 in the morning. And we've got sweet peas. We've got basil. This has come from my dear friend Speranza's husband. I got them ages ago. I'm just so thrilled that they're flowering. What's this? What's this? Marigold. The tall marigolds I'm growing there. Cosmos in the white. Sunflowers. You know what? I'm going to put these in the garden earlier. I reckon they're going to get planted out this weekend at the latest. Cosmos there. Sweet peas. Lovely sweet peas. And then we've got more sweet peas. More sweet peas. More sweet peas. Look at them. So I'm going to have to pinch these back soon too. Under here I'm just using one of these of Daniel's, and that's to grow marigolds. Can you recognise this? It's Cosmos. That's Cosmos Piketty actually. And this one here, the yellow Cosmos, it's coming up slower, but it is coming up, so that's a good thing. Some of the sweet peas haven't come up yet. What's the temperature in here? We're sitting at 16 degrees, nearly 17 degrees in here. It's beautiful temperature. This is my granny's bonnets, columbines, aquilegia. Nothing happening there on this front, but it can still happen. Might be a bit of a L'Oreal moment. Won't happen overnight, but it will happen. What's in the back there? Rose campions. I didn't think they were going to come up, but they are. They're a really pretty little flower as well for the cottage. You can really see the marigolds are starting to look like real marigolds in this lot. And then we've got sweet peas in abundance. I'd say that is 100% strike rate on those. I'm very impressed. And in this lot we've got the perennial white ones, which apparently come up slower. These are Mammoth Choice, so these were older seeds, so it goes to show if they're not in date they may not last as long. Seeds are terrific, but they've got to have a bit of a, they've got to use by date like most things. This is just to show you the sweet pea there. So that seed is coming up. Wow, so it's actually, I'm going to move my hand away, the seed has actually come out and it's started to root in there. I don't know whether to push it back down in the dirt or not. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just put it in a little bit. Just cover it with a little bit of soil. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I've never seen them push themselves up like that before. The sunflowers do. The sunflowers come up in their own little casing and then they create the flower. So we've not really had success up this end. Only one. Oh, there's another one coming up. So maybe they are just a bit later. Very good. Very, very good. The other thing that I'm growing is some carnations. So hopefully they'll grow as well. They're on the other part of the greenhouse. So for now, I'll say see ya. Come back out and show you what else I've done. Close that up. Leave these two to work. And then in here, in the picking bed, looks very scrappy at the moment because we were on hail control there in the middle with some sunflowers, but they've all been planted out in the garden now, and then there's just a few marigolds still to thicken up a little bit in their pots. I'm thinking of waiting for them to thicken up a bit before I plant them out. Some chrysanthemums are here in the rows. I'm not sure whether I'm going to leave them on site. I probably will, because they're a good divider, and I've got sort of like this whole row to work with still, this whole row to work with still, this one and this one. So I actually think I'll remove these two chrysanthemums out and merge them in along here, or maybe that end one, and then I'm going to have one big thick bed here that I can plant. So I've got and I've got a silver beet that's just lasted forever. In here I'm growing tuberoses, so I've just put them in some potting mix just to keep them a bit moist and trying to sprout them before I put them in the garden. But yeah, the silver beets just lasted forever. As you can see by my shadow, morning sun comes in here, but it's more shady until the afternoon, but we do get a bit of dappled sun in here. This is quite a good spot just around here. I'm thinking for something like sunflowers maybe on this row, and then something a bit shorter in this row. Not sure, I might just put all sunflowers here. Cosmos actually would go really good here too. And then here, along this section of the fence, Terry's going to put some wire across because she's raised the posts already, and that's going to have some mesh put on it. That's going to be an area for growing sweet peas, and in front of it gladioli. And then over here we've got the fence trellis has already been raised. That's going to be for sweet peas. So we're going to try to get sweet peas to grow right round to this part here of the garden. I think it's going to work because we do get sun in there in the afternoon. So that's quite a big area to grow sweet peas. In front, same as the other side, it's going to be gladdies all in front, and I'm going to what you call succession plant them out so that I don't put all my eggs in one basket sort of thing. I'm going to plant them out over several weeks because then they'll last right through. I'll get longer use for them for my floristry, and it also helps save space in the garden, really, succession planting. And then here I've planted out ranunculus. So I was really not very well in autumn, and that's when these were supposed to be planted, and then put some sort of like a floating hoop over it, which is like a frost protectant. But what I've done, which is possible because I'm doing it now and I've followed advice, you can do them in early spring. So I got them going in trays in early spring, and they've been sprouted up, and I've planted all this section out here with ranunculus, and I've gone with 9 inches apart, which happens to just be the length of my little diggy tool. So they're all in there, and then there'll be some sweet peas, so they'll sort of shade the roots of the sweet peas as well, same as the gladdies. I don't think they're going to fight with each other, the gladdies and the ranunculus. I think it should work out all right, as long as I give these their space to grow and the gladdies and the sweet peas their own space as well. So this section here, I'm thinking it's going to be a mix of cosmos and sunflower, and yeah, we're just going to have pretty colours in here. Zinnia as well, didn't even mention the zinnia. I'm going to get them in there too. Alright, I'm going to show you, we'll go for a walk past. Oh, Gary, you got a hole in your pants there, buddy. I got that on film. There's the garden, the upper garden, the driveway bed in the backyard, and then we call this the upper garden. We'll walk past the honesty again just because we can. It is so beautiful. I already showed this in the last video I put up, but it's really beautiful. One thing I didn't show you is that the hellebores, they're still flowering in here and they're going to seed. So I'm letting that happen. I didn't pick them, I'm letting them go to seed. They may produce seeds, they may be a hybridized plant that will only propagate through division. Like it was one of these ones. Like this one's called Sophie's Choice. So Sophie's Delight, sorry, and they're beautiful, but they may not actually produce seed. They may only produce by dividing up the plant when they get a bit older, but that's okay. We can deal with that, can't we? All right, so this section of the garden, the bluebells are coming up. Some sweet peas are already coming up on the arbor. Back to Gary. Okay, now we're going to go over near where I have had the ranunculus and anemones. I find that very hard to say, anenome. Hello, chookies. You've all been fed this morning, haven't you? All the edible food around the chooks is really thickening up here. The spinach, calendulas, the fennel, osteospermum, calendulas. We've even got raspberries growing up here, artichokes, lemon balm. Have a smell of that. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I just want to show you where I set up my ranunculus. I bagged up some chook poo the other day. I'm going to undo this. I'm going to step back so you can see what it is. It's one of our old chook cages. It's a very good chook cage, but it took some damage because we had a tree there that was chopped down. It kept falling and breaking and all of that, so we ended up putting the chooks over in this section over here, and we had more chooks at that stage too. So now we've got them all merged in the one pen, and we're going to make some changes. That's a whole nother story, but we're going to make some changes there. I wanted to just show you what we did here. So I used this shed because in here it's pretty dark. So I've got my dahlias in here, or some of my dahlias in boxes, and I've actually got them just buried under in the potting mix just to keep them protected. Every now and then I'll come in and I squirt a little bit of water on it. This is definitely not moist, this water. I've labelled them all. Oh, this one's bushfire, one of my, oh, that was a prolific flower. So they're just protected, and they're in here, and they're in the shade in here. Although, as it warms up now, we're getting into the hotter temperatures. It's going to be a warm summer, I think, because it's definitely a warm start to spring. It may get too hot in here. So we have got the protection of the gum tree above with a bit of shade, but anyway, we'll see. And then this is the anemones, very ferny looking, and then these ones are the ranunculus. So pretty much I was crook, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to waste these beautiful flowers that I've bought the corms of. And so Terry and I just potted them all up using some lovely potting mix. What do you call it? Not potting mix, seedling mix, seed raising mix. We put them in there, and we've literally just lined them with my used salon sheets that I wash and I don't use anymore. And I'll show you, I'll just show you what they look like, or maybe I'll do that on another video because I might run out of time. But they're really loose, and then I just literally pull them out like this, and look at the roots in them. So they've got plenty of roots, and then they're ready to go out into the garden. Well, that's dropped off a bit, but you can see the little corms at the bottom starting to swell. So the plan is we'll put them into the ground. We'll get them planted out in that area I just showed you, and they'll start to grow. They are now flowering all around the hills and floral areas in South Australia. They're definitely in full flower now. So I'm not expecting to get masses of flowers at all out of these. I might get a couple of flowers, I'm not sure, but my plan is that at least I'll get them in the ground. I'm going to put them in on site in that big picking bed I showed you before where the sweet pea trellises are going up. And these will stay in the ground. They'll be a permanent in the ground for at least 12 months so that we can get the next cycle, so that this time next year they will be in full flower, beautiful flower. And then after the growing cycle, I will lift them up and divide them and sell them on, or plant more, whatever we decide to do. But pretty much I've just didn't want them to be wasted. I could have left them in a bag protected and they might have lasted for another year. I'm sure they would have. But I just feel glad that we've got them started and we're giving them a go. So they're going to divide up more over this warmer season, the corms are going to get bigger and stronger. The bigger and stronger the corm is, which is that little, the little octopusy claw thing at the bottom of the ranunculus I'm talking about in particular, they will give bigger flowers. And then the anemones are almost they're a little bit like what do you call it? Like a chestnut type size, even like a shriveled up small chestnut type thing. And they will get bigger. The bigger the anemone corm, the bigger the flowers will be and the more production of flowers. But apparently one corm will give me up to 20 flowers. So you can see how valuable that is going to be for my floral side of things, as well as being able to regenerate and sell on corms later, because they're just a beautiful cottage plant that can be something, added to any cottage, garden. They don't have to be en masse like I'm doing. It can be just put them around the garden. They're soft and they're pretty. And they're very, very hardy. The only thing is they don't want to be flooded with water. So good drainage is the main thing. Anyway, this is all pretty new to me, so I'm not going to act like I know everything. I'm just repeating what I've been told. We've got one of our girls laying an egg in there. She's working while I'm talking. We'll lock up the old chook cage. And then round here, I just want to show you something else and we'll call it a day with the videoing. But we've got the white borage here, which the bees absolutely love. It's not in full flower yet. That's going into my backyard, okay? And then we've got the blue borage here. So they both grow about the same. And then here, we've got something really interesting happened. We've got a variegated borage. It's not like diseased or anything. It's actually a true variegated plant. And it is a plant all on its own. It's not a side shoot to another plant. So I'm really going to look after this little baby, because it'll be really interesting to see if the seed from this grows another variegated, or if it's just some random throwback that's happened. But I'm finding that really interesting, that we've got a variegated borage, because never heard of it, never seen it. And while I'm talking to you, here's something else that's working its way through the garden. These horrible bugs. See, they hide from you. Where did you go? Anyway, I just squash them when I see them. I think they're called harlequin bugs or shield bugs, or I don't know, but I don't like them. But these guys, they're welcome in my garden anytime. Absolutely beautiful. Alrighty, well, I'll get going. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll say see you from Herbie the horse, who's hidden amongst the vinca creeper there. Toodaloo, have a jolly good day. Hopefully we have a concrete floor laid in that shed by the time the day's over. I know it will be, and in a few days we'll be able to walk on it. Say hi, girls. Do a big shout out to Grandma and Grandpa over in Tassie, hey? See ya. Bye.